pagbati na may ngiti sa aking mga labi. Naghahanap ba kayo ng makakatuwang sa pagre-review ng inyong anak? Meron yan sa DepEd. Ang ETULay online tutorial ay libre at handog ng ating kagawaran sa pangunguna ng OUA ICTS EdTech. Ito ay isang proyektong makatutulong sa mga mag-aaral, katuwang ang mga magulang o kasama sa kani-kanilang tahanan para masagutan at maunawaan ang mga modules. Hangad din ng programang ETULay ang matulungan ang ating mga guro sa kanilang mga blended learning classes. Ang ating ETULay ay mula kinder hanggang senior high school. Bukod sa academics, meron din tayong mga special programs gaya ng All is Wellness, Reading and Math Remediation, Storytelling, Mommy Tech Talks, Classes sa Gramatika, Speech Class, Financial Literacy, at marami pang iba. Pinalawig din ng ETULay ang ating Alive program para sa mga mag-aaral mula grade 1 hanggang grade 3. Gayon din ay mayroon tayong ALS program at SPED tutorials na makasisigurong makakamit ng lahat ang inclusive education. May SPED hotline na rin para sa inyong mga katanungan patungkol sa special education. Kaya, subaybayan mula Lunes hanggang Biyernes, mula 9:00 ng umaga hanggang 7:00 ng gabi ang ating ETULay. Sa ating pagtutulungan, maiaangat natin ang bawat isa. Ating itutulay ang pagkatuto upang di mapigil ang pag-aaral ng kabataang Pilipino. Itulay natin ito, sulong edukalidad.
Mabuhay! Good day to all! I am your tutor Madge. Welcome to ETULay, a free online tutorial, an initiative of the Department of Education, Information and Communications Technology Service, Educational Technology Unit, ICTS EdTech. This program is aimed at helping and assisting learners from kindergarten, senior high school, ALS, Alive, and SPED learners. Aside from answering the modules, the ETULay is offering programs which you will surely look forward to. Together with our parents and teachers, the ETULay will bridge the gaps where difficulty and ease meet in learning new knowledge and skills. So, let us prepare our modules, pen and paper. Ready your mind to see and hear worthwhile and interesting lessons. Let us now study and learn, together with our volunteer online tutors. Tara na!
Ayan, magandang hapon po sa lahat ng ating manonood ngayong hapon, ETULay online tutorial session ngayong Biyernes, Math Talino Friday. Ako po ang inyong tutor Joshua.
At ako po ang inyong tutor Queenie. Makasama niyo po ngayon. Okay, good afternoon kay Catlea Soriano. Okay, ayan, from Ingud Ramona Integrated School. And kay OG Jenna, good afternoon. Ayan, may mga kasama tayo ngayon.
And good afternoon din po from Pag-asa Elementary School, Bagong Silang, Caloocan City. So maganda po yun no, na kahit po nasa elementary school po tayo, we are familiar with the different programs ng ating DepEd EdTech Unit para po maanohan natin yung, maituloy natin yung online blended learning.
Alright, so from last week, nagkaroon tayo ng factoring polynomials. Okay? So, meron na tayo ng mga kanina factor na natin last week, Tutor Joshua.
Ayan. So, bago natin ibigay yung mga nagawa natin last week, no, papasalamat po ulit kami sa pagpapagamit ng modules ng Caraga Region for Mathematics 8 na makikita po natin din sa ating DepEd Commons at DepEd LMS. So last time nga po, nakapag-factor na rin tayo ng iba't ibang klase ng polynomials. And when we say factoring, it's writing or expressing them as products of two or more polynomials. So we have polynomials with common monomial factors, the difference of two squares, and the sum and difference of two cubes. Natatandaan natin no, naman lahat din ng polynomials ay product of two or more polynomials in a sense na different polynomials yung may lalagay natin. Kasi we have what we call prime polynomials, which are polynomials whose factors are just one and the polynomial itself.
And then
We also
we also had problem solvings na nakita natin na related pala with factoring. And for this week, we will continue with factoring, but this time we have the other polynomials. We have the so-called perfect square trinomial, and then, kung hindi perfect square, we call it general trinomials. At syempre, may kita pa rin natin saang mga types of problem solvings or situations sila pwedeng i-relate.
Ayan, so tama si Tutor Queenie, no? So yung ating lesson for this week ay magagamit or gamit na gamit pa siya sa mga susunod na ating lessons. So if you have questions or difficulties in your future lessons or in our lessons today, balikan lang natin syempre yung ating mga tutorial sessions pati yung ating episodes at DepEd.
Ayan. So, ready na ba sila Athena Chinel Salvador at pati si Sancha Faye Maludon? Ayan, ready na dahil start na tayo with the other techniques of factoring polynomials. So, we have this. Okay, anong sabi dito? A square plot has an area of x squared plus 6x plus 9 square units. Kaya lang, the question is, or the task is, find the measure of each side. So, given na tayo ng area ulit. Okay, ganun ulit, no? So, may area na tayo ng x squared plus 6x plus 9. What we need are the measure of the sides. So, another familiar situation. Okay, so, kabaliktaran na naman, instead of getting the area, we're finding the measure of the sides given an area. So, paano ba to, Shooter Joshua?
Ayan. So, ano bang naalala natin when we talk about the area of a square? So, lagay muna natin siya, no? So, area of a square is equal to the product of the side multiplied to itself or just s squared. Okay, the length of the side yan. At syempre, dapat nating malaman kung ano yung measurement ng kada side. Kaya lang, sabi nga, ang given tayo ay area. Tapos, maliban sa area ang given, polynomial pa yung pagkakalagay. So, we have variables na hindi natin alam yung values ng x. So, if you are familiar with at nadaanan nyo itong topic na ito last school year, we could represent a body or a polynomial of a single variable using algebra tiles. Ayan. So sa algebra tiles natin, we represent small squares or unit squares na ang halaga ay 1 as a 1 unit square. Pwede nga 1 inch, pwede nga 1 cm, and it will represent the length of the square with side 1. So yun yun. Next, we have a rectangle whose length is x. Yung haba niya ay x. Pero yung lapad niya ay 1. So, para tayo nag-multiply na, no? 1 times x is x. So, may area na tayo. So, nakikita natin yung relationship ng length dun sa area. And then, if we have x, we could also represent an area of x squared such that yung haba ng isang side ng x squared is x. So, x squared. So, meron tayong isang x squared. Meron tayong
6 na x.
plus x. And then, we have positive 9. So, we have 9 positive unit squares. And dahil nga, ang importante dito is yung haba, we could represent this length as x. Ayan. So, makikita na natin na mayroong relationship nga yung sides. Then sabi ko nga, no, yung isang rectangle na x, ang lapad niya is 1. And dahil tatlo yan, may tatlo tayong 1 na haba. Ano pang alam natin sa square? The sides of a square are congruent, meaning equal yung measurement no taas saka nung kaliwa, pati yung right and then nasa baba. And then simplifying it, we could combine x plus 3 and ganun din sa left side. So technically, we could write x squared plus 6x plus 9 equal to the square of x plus 3. Ito na yung ating
Yung
side.
side.
Kasi ito siya di ba? And then, we write the units. Huwag natin kakalimutan. Kapag ang hinahanap is measure, we include the units.
Alright. So, another technique, okay, another situation about factoring. So, nakita natin na yung polynomial pala can also represent a square. Okay? And these polynomials are what we call perfect square trinomial. So, nakalagay doon, no? Perfect square. Okay? So, the square and trinomial kasi it forms of 3 terms. Okay? So, sabi, kapag meron tayong perfect square trinomials, meron tayong pwedeng pattern na sundin as their factors. Okay? Example, we have a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. Ang factors niyan ay the square of a plus b. And then, kapag nagkaroon naman tayo ng a squared minus 2ab plus b squared, ang factors naman daw niya ay the square of a minus b. And dun sa mga kasama natin sa live, baka familiar kayo, lesson nung grade 7, multiplication ng a plus b times the quantity a plus b. Okay? Nung grade 7, ang tanong, a plus b times a plus b. Okay? So, ang nagiging sagot, a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So, this time in grade 8, pabaliktad naman tayo. Okay? Ang bigay naman sa atin, ang given is yung a squared plus 2ab plus b squared, and then, ang magiging answer natin, yung the square of a binomial na a plus b. Right? Ayan. So, kung familiar kayo sa pattern na to, ito lang ulit to, pabaliktad naman, reverse naman na process. Alright? So, ano bang next natin dyan? Example. So, we have y squared minus 16y plus 64. Kaya lang, in factoring perfect square trinomials, we have to make sure na perfect square trinomial na talaga yung given natin. But how do we find out na perfect square trinomial ito, Tutor Josh? Paano nga ba malalaman?
Una, kailangan makita natin na trinomial siya or we have 3 terms in the polynomial. So kita naman natin, we have 2 operations. We have subtraction and then we have addition dito sa dulo. Okay? So pag nangyari na yon, already we have 3 terms. Next is, we could write the trinomial in such a way na decreasing yung exponents ng isang variable natin. So if we have here y squared, technically, mas maganda siyang isulat na mauna. Kasi nga, decreasing order, decreasing ng exponents or powers, yung tawag natin. And then last, we will check if the roots, if the terms pala, the first and the last term kapag naayos na natin, are perfect squares. Tapos may gagawin tayong konting magic na mangyayari para ma-check na siya ay perfect square trinomial talaga. Okay? So nakaayos na siya na y squared and then minus 16y plus 64. Next step is to check if it is a perfect square, yung first term natin. So paano natin malalaman kung perfect square ba siya? Tandaan natin kanina, no, sa square, s times s is s squared. Hanap lang tayo ng number or variable or term that when we multiply to itself, yung square niya ang makukuha natin. And it's very easy for y squared because it's just y times y. Okay? That's it for the first term. Yung second term, mamaya natin gagalawin. Tingin muna tayo dun sa last term. The last term is 8 times 8. Okay? Next, ang gagawin na natin ay we will get the product of the roots or the factors na ginamit natin, which is y and 8. So what is y times 8? Pag minag-multiply natin yan, we will get 8y. Okay? So ito na yung magic na mangyayari. Kailangan yung twice or yung doble ng product na yon mag-equal dun sa middle term. Okay, so i-multiply natin times 2. Oh, di pala maganda yung x kasi gagamitin natin siya as variable.
So,
Okay, so times 2 natin. Lagay na lang natin dito sa gilid. 2 times 8 is 16 and lalagay natin yung variable which is 5. Okay? Kaya lang, Tutor Queenie, no, nasabi natin last week na we include the signs ng terms natin. So bakit hindi to negative 16y? Or pwede bang gawing negative
based
16y?
doon sa ating pattern sa taas, no? So, yung, natin, yung trinomial natin, always positive yung first term, always positive yung last term. Pero yung middle term natin, pwedeng positive, pwedeng negative. So, yung magiging effect ng middle term na yun, doon na sa factors natin. So, sum ba siya ng binomial or difference ba ng binomial? Yung magiging factors.
Ayun. So, aside that, kasi di ba yung 64, pwede rin natin gawin negative 8 times negative 8. At nasagot doon, positive 64. So, technically, when we multiply that, magiging negative 8y and doon lalabas yung negative 16y. So, mas na-ensure natin yung pagiging perfect square trinomial niya. And then, lastly, kumpleto na tayo ng requirement, masusulat na natin siya kasi nga, perfect square si first term, perfect square si, dito pala dapat, perfect square si first term, perfect square si last term, and the middle term is twice the product of the roots ng ating first and last term.
So, ibig sabihin, yung given natin, Tutor Joshua, ay perfect square trinomial. So, pwede natin gamitin yung technique natin na yung factors nila ay square ng binomial. Tama ba?
Yes. Yes,
Ayan.
tama.
So, sana nakakasunod pa. Hello po kay Emmanuel Tarosa, kay Princess Maring Taguban Domingo, and kay Menerisa Maring Samson. Okay? So, kung nakikilala nyo si perfect square trinomial, okay, kung pagtingin nyo sa trinomial nyo, perfect square trinomial, so pwedeng-pwede agad-agad gawin na natin yung technique na ang factor niya ay square ng binomial. Okay? Sige, try tayo ng iba pang example para makita natin kung talaga ba nag-work with other polynomial. Okay, so we have 4m squared plus 20m plus 25. Ayan, so sa comments, pwede po kayong mag-send. Baka nakikita nyo na yung factored form kasi familiar naman tong form na to. Okay, so una, tingnan muna natin kung perfect square trinomial yung given. So, trinomial naman siya, no? So, 4m squared, yung first term, yung middle term, 20m, and then yung last term is 25. The question is, okay, tatlo yung kailangan natin i-check. Yung first term ba ay perfect square? Ayan. Baka po alam nyo na kung ano yung square root. May square root ba na walang butal yung 4m squared natin? Okay. Yung 25 ba perfect square? Okay, perfect square din ba yung 25? Ayan, pwede nyo i-send sa chat, sa comments natin kung alam nyo na kung ano yung square root ng 4m squared at ano yung square root ng 25. Okay. And then, sige nga, meron na ba? Okay. So, meron tayong 4m squared as first term. Pwede ba siyang isulat na square of something? Okay. So, si 4m squared ay, ano bang square root niyan? Yan ay 2m. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, we can write 4m squared as the square of 2m. So, perfect square yung first term natin. Tama ba? Okay?
Yes.
And then, yung 25 is 5 times 5. So, 25 can be written as the square of 5. So, another perfect square. Right? Kaya lang, pwede ba natin agad-agad sabihin na, perfect square yung first term and last term. Perfect square trinomial agad yung trinomial natin. Pwede ba agad-agad, Tutor Joshua?
Syempre hindi, no? Kasi meron tayong middle term na kailangan kunin na kukunin natin din yung twice ng product nilang dalawa.
Ayun. Okay. So, ayan, sabi ni Catherine Matarlo, 2m and 5. Ayun, yung square root nung first term at saka nung last term. So, i-check natin kung yung middle term ba will be the middle term para maging perfect square trinomial siya. So, ano ba dapat daw yung middle term? So, twice 2 times the 2m times 5. O, kung naalala nyo pa, how to multiply polynomials para ma-check natin if the middle term will make it a perfect square trinomial. So, 2 times 2m, that is 4m. 4m times 5, that is 20m. Therefore, nakikita natin na yung middle term natin is actually 20m. So, it makes our given a perfect square trinomial. Ay, dahil alam na natin na perfect square trinomial siya, ay baka naman alam na natin paano isusulat yung factors ng ating given. Okay? So, paano na nga ulit ito gagawin? Shooter Joshua? Dahil alam na natin.
Okay, so no, nakita natin yung pattern. It's the operation are positive or plus dito sa una, and then sa second one is also a plus or addition. Then, napatunayan na natin na this is a perfect square trinomial. Shortcut is PST. Okay? So, we just take the square roots or yung ginamit nating terms para makuha yung square. Yun nga, kaya lang, kabaliktaran. So, ano yung ginamit natin? 2m and 5. So, that would be 2m plus 5, yung binomial. And then, syempre, wag kakalimutan yung square na exponent kasi nga, we're writing the factors. Pwede natin kasi siyang isulat as 2m plus 5 multiplied by the other quantity, which is actually itself, 2m plus 5. And to be simpler, parang ano no, a times a equal naman siya sa a squared. So parang kino-combine natin siya as a squared. Ayan, tulad ng sagot ni Ryan J. Cornelia Soliva, the square of 2m plus 5. Very good naman.
So, either way, pwedeng isulat yon. Okay. Alright, sige. Ayan. So, let's have an activity. Factor the following polynomials. Pero syempre, check muna natin kung perfect square trinomial ba sila. Okay? Sige. So, ayan. Ay, mga classmates natin dito sa comments. Hello po kay Joanna Chong, kay Bern Alera. Good afternoon from Arroyo High School. Kay Catherine Matarlo, Jarish Agno from CNHS, and kay
Camarin North High School.
Okay. Hello po, and Jeffrey Langweo. So, po, pwede niyo po kaming sabayan. Send nyo lang sa comments kung ano na yung nakita niyong sagot. Okay. Pero kung hindi pa natin masundan, andito naman para unti-untiin natin. Sige, try natin yung una. 36a squared minus 12a plus 1. Okay? So, pasok doon sa trinomial. Kaya lang, pasok ba sa magiging perfect square trinomial? So, first term natin, 36a squared. Yung last term natin ay 1. Pareho ba silang perfect square? Okay? Pareho kaya silang perfect square? Ayan. Ayan po, baka pwede nyo kaming sabayan kay Rian Antoinette from Dr. Ramos de Santos National High School, kay Sweet C. Galano from 8 Samuel. Ayan.
So,
Ano nga ba ang
makakatulong na alam nila yung perfect squares and yung perfect cubes nga no na tinatawag natin na alam kong nadaanan na nila ng grade 7 sila at ginamit din natin nung last week, which is on the difference of two squares. So nakita natin na 36, kinakanta natin to ng bata, no? 6 times 6 is 36. Tapos we have a variable na hindi pala variable, term or literal coefficient na a squared. So we could simply write this as the square of 6a. And then C1, alam natin, universal ano siya, multiplicative identity. So it's just 1 times 1 or 1 squared. Okay? And then check natin kung yung middle term ay tutugma doon sa twice ng product ng dalawa. So we have 2 times 6a, then times 1. So we have 2 times 6 is 12 times 1, that is still 12. So this is 12a. To be more sure sa nangyayari kasi negative yung yung coefficient ng middle term natin. Pwede kaya negative 1 squared is still positive 1. So it's still positive 1 kasi nga negative times negative is positive. So kahit na mag-multiply tayo dito ng negative at negative yan, that would still be okay. Pero ingat lang kasi it only works for the squares or even exponents.
Okay.
Okay?
So, meron ng...
So dahil PST na siya, may nakakuha na actually ng tamang sagot. Si Vern Alera, nakita ko na yung correct answer niya.
Pati rin si
So that would
Alexander
be,
Kapada.
ayan, so that would be 6a minus 1 and then we square that quantity.
Ayan. So, sabi ni Alexander, since it satisfies the form of a perfect square trinomial. So, pwedeng-pwede yan. Ayan. Next is
Then,
number 2 tayo. Okay, very good. May marami mga nakakuha ng sagot ng number 1. Let's have number 2. 9b squared plus 66b plus 121. Mukhang malalaki yung number, no? Pero try pa rin natin isa-isahin. Okay? So, we have 9b squared, first term, and then yung last term, 121. Okay, ano ba ang square root ng 9b squared? Okay. At meron din bang square root ang 121 na walang butal? Eksakto. Okay, meron kaya? Alright. So, ayan. So, 9b squared can be written as the square of 3b. Okay, kasi si 9b squared, ang square root niya ay 3b. And, ayan, kilala naman natin si 121 ay galing sa square ng 11. Yun. So, pasok, first term, last term, perfect squares. Yan, tama po si Ryan, 11 po. Okay, ayan. So, we now identified na perfect square yung first and last. Tingnan naman natin yung middle term. So, ito bang middle term ay twice ng 3b times 11. Check natin. Isa-isahin natin. 2 times 3b is 6b. Okay? Times 11, that will be 66b. So, dapat daw para maging perfect square trinomial, 66b daw yung middle term. At saktong-sakto, napakaganda ng given, 66b nga ang ating middle term. So, ibig sabihin, yung given ay perfect square trinomial. Ayan na. Dahil perfect square trinomial na yan, agad-agad meron tayong makukuhang factor. Ayan. Ayun. Meron tayong nakakuha ng sagot. Nandito na si Catherine Matarlo. Ayan, nakuha ni Catherine. Pati si Ryan Saliva. Ayan, nakakuha sila ng the square of 3b plus 11. Ayan, pati si Chris Biason. Ayan, nakasquared yung quantity 3b plus 11. Ayan, napakadali lang, no? Ayan, basta kilala natin si PST or yung perfect square trinomial.
Ayan, add ko lang po na nakakatuwa na meron tayong viewers din na pinapansin yung comments ng ibang viewers kasi tulad ni Alexander Florante Capada, tinama niya yung misconception nung isa niyang co-viewer na yung kaninang factors na binigay niya is a difference of two squares, which is mag-iiba yung given. So take note natin yung laman nung given natin before we also apply some techniques. Kasi hindi nag-work yung mga techniques natin for every type of polynomial.
Okay. So, review natin, no, kasi yung sinasabi kanina, kapag perfect square trinomial, Tutor Joshua, yung dalawang parentheses, pareho ng sign, pareho ng operation, tama ba? So, pag perfect square trinomial, pag gusto mong dalawang parentheses, so parehong addition or parehong subtraction para sa perfect square trinomial yun. Pero pag difference of two squares, yun yung magkaiba. Yung isa sum, yung isa difference. Ayan. Kaya,
Okay.
chine-check natin yung given kung perfect square trinomial ba or difference of two squares. Alright? Okay. So, paano itong activity 2? Find the value of k that will make the polynomial a perfect square trinomial. Yes, Tutor Joshua, paano ba yung number 1?
So, alam na natin kung paano natin i-check kung perfect square trinomial ba siya. Now, we are going to state kung paano siya magiging perfect square trinomial. So, para siyang kabaligtaran naman. Titignan muna natin kung ano yung given at ano yung nawawala. So, dito sa number 1, k is the last term. Ibig sabihin, hinahanap natin yung perfect square na mag-aano sa kanya, what we call this? Magko-complete dun sa perfect square trinomial. So, dahil yun ang nawawala, magsa-start tayo sa gitna. Kasi parang pabalik natin gagawin. Alam natin na yung middle term is twice the product of the roots ng first and the last term. So, equal yung negative 24 sa negative 24r is equal to twice ng anong mga factors. Okay? So, yung unang factor, kukunin natin, syempre, dun sa first term. Okay? Alam natin that this is the square of r. Meaning, the first factor is also r. Okay? So, how do we solve for an unknown value? Gamit na itong equation na ito. We just divide it by the what we call this? The factors 2r. So, yung parenthesis natin, divide lang natin ito by 2r. So, negative 24 is, what we call this? Divided by 2 is negative 12. Tapos, r divided by r is simply 1. So, this is negative 12. Tapos na ba tayo? Hindi pa, kasi kailangan perfect square trinomial. So, k would be equal to the square of negative 12, which is 144.
So, wag kakalimutan i-square kasi 'di ba sabi natin kanina, yung last term should be a perfect square. Right? Ayan. So, yung missing natin dyan ay 144. Yung number 2, ayan, middle term, yung coefficient ng middle term lang yung nawawala. O ayan, yan na yung kaninang tinitignan natin nung hinaalam natin yung perfect square trinomial. Ayan, so si Julian, baka alam niyo na dyan, si Luis Gabriel na nakasama natin sa comment section at si Samantha. Baka alam niyo na kung ano yung missing na coefficient ng middle term natin. So, paano nga ba natin nahanapin? So, 16b squared, kinukuha lang natin yung square root niyan kanina, which is 4b. Tama ba? Ayan. 4b. Tama? Okay. And then, yung 49 ng square root niyan ay 7. Ayun. So, ano ba dapat yung middle term para ang given natin will be a perfect square trinomial? So, sabi natin kanina, di ba, dapat yung middle term will be twice nung product ng 4b at saka ng 7. So, ganoon na lang. Simple na lang. Find na lang natin yung product nitong tatlo. So, 2 times 4b times 7. Ayan, that is, ano na po kaya yan? Ayun, 56b. Kaya lang, given na yung b, ang hinahanap na lang yung coefficient. So, we say that k should be equal to 56. Ayan. So, kailangan lang, ito lang yung mga paraan para ma-familiarize tayo with perfect square trinomial. Para, pag nakita natin ang perfect square trinomial, edi automatic we do the factors of it, the square of a binomial. Right? Okay?
Okay?
So,
So, wag din natin kalimutan, no?
Ha?
Ayan, wag din natin kalimutan no, na ang 49 or ang positive 49 is also the square of negative 7. It's positive 56 or k is also or can be negative 56. Ayan.
Ayun. Ayan, naipadala ni Alexander Florante Capada. Ayan, thank you.
Ayan, nakakapag-type na pala ng positive, negative sa
Kaya nga, galing
Facebook. Ngayon ko lang nalaman.
Actually, meron na rin yung iba dyan na kapag send na ng exponent na 2, ibang device ata. Sige, move tayo sa another polynomial. Observe x squared. Yes po, pwede po, na si k ay negative 56. Opo. Ayan, observe x squared minus 3x plus 2 using algebra tiles. So, ano po ito, Tutor Joshua?
So, kasi nga, di ba, yung ating terms could be positive and negative. So, kailangan, kung meron tayong positive na, na what we call this, na algebra tile, dapat may negative din tayo. So, we could use different colors when representing our tiles. Kailangan lang din properly named. So, dapat ito actually should be negative x. Okay? Then, again, we're just getting the length of each tile. Tapos, we have x is the length of the x squared tile. Tapos yung ating negative x, ang width niya would be negative 1. Okay? Or actually, product lang siya ng positive and ng negative. So yung red color will represent the negativity. Parang gano'n. So then, ganyan din yung mangyayari on the other side. So again, no, yung some of our polynomials can be illustrated using algebra tiles. At kapag nangyari yun, na rectangle siya or square, factorable yung ating polynomial. Kasi na-express natin siya as a length and width. So ito na yung length ng buong rectangle. So this is x minus 2. And the width or the height ng ating rectangle is x minus 1. So we could represent x squared minus 3x plus 2 as the product of these lengths, x minus 2 and x minus 1. Pero syempre hindi naman practical na lagi tayo mag-algebra tiles when factoring this type of trinomial. So we will introduce a new, hindi pala siya bago, no? Pero alam pong magagamit natin for every type of trinomial na meron tayo.
Okay. So yung tiles po kasi para mas makita natin, mas ma-imagine natin what is happening with our polynomials. So, pwede pala yun na i-treat as like that. Ngayon, kung na-imagine mo na, you know what's happening with your polynomials, we can proceed to our different solution. Okay? Ayan. So, example is x squared plus 5x minus 36. So, ito po ay hindi pasok sa ating pag-check ng perfect square trinomial. Okay? Kasi yung middle term, hindi siya yung supposedly na dapat for our perfect square trinomial. Kaya ang tawag na lang natin sa kanya is general trinomial. Pero factorable pa rin. Right? And ayun nga, pwede natin gamitin itong technique na ito. For some, meron silang iba pang techniques, pero we will be showing you a general way para kahit anong cases, pwede siya. Okay? So, paano po ba ito?
Okay, first, no, kailangan yung ating trinomial, supposedly, decreasing order, tapos it only works for such cases na x squared, tapos we have a linear term which is bx, tapos constant. Kasi i-identify natin yung coefficients of that polynomial. So in this case, ax squared is a is the coefficient of the first term, b is the coefficient of the middle term, and c is our constant. So a, dito sa ating given, ano kaya yung a? Walang number na nakalagay. Ayan, pag walang number na nakalagay, merong invisible na 1. And for C, we will include the negative sign or the subtraction as a negative sign. Kasi nga, yung minus 36 could be written as plus, kunwari yan, x squared plus 5x plus negative 36. Kaya natin kinukuha yung negative. Okay, next, we get the product of A and C. So 1 times 36, that would be negative 36.
1 times negative 36 is negative 36.
Then we use that product dun sa table natin. Okay? We look for factors of negative 36 such that the sum of the factors is equal to the middle term. Okay? So we have here negative 36. Positive 5. So ano kaya yung pwedeng maging factors ng 36?
Well, maraming factors ang negative 36, no? Okay? Pwedeng 1 times 36, 2 times, ano ba? 2 times 16? 18. Ayan. So, marami. Kaya lang, doon sa factors na yon, we need to find na pag in-add natin or pag kinumbay natin ay 5. So, sa dinami-dami ng factors na yan, alin kaya? Try tayo ng isa. Ano kaya ang pwede? Sige, try na natin yung 2 times 18.
2 times 18. Kaya lang, napansin natin na yung yung product ay negative. So one of the factors should be positive, one of the factors should be negative. So ano kaya yung pwede maging negative dito? Let's try negative 2. Okay. Next, check natin the sum of the factors, negative 2 plus 18. Okay, dahil magkaiba ng sign, technically we're going to subtract. So that would be 16. Positive 16 kasi 18 has the larger absolute value. Kaya lang, equal ba siya sa 5? Hindi.
Hindi yan yung pair of factors na kailangan natin. Meron na dito ang nagbigay 9 at saka 4.
9 and 4.
Pwede raw ba yung 9 and 4?
Alin yung negative?
Kasi ang hinahanap natin positive 5. So, i-assign natin yung negative sign doon sa mas maliit.
Okay. So negative 4. So check. Positive 9 plus negative 4. That is equal to positive 5. So okay na siya. Magagamit na natin yung 9 and negative 4. To get the proper factors of this polynomial, may gagawin pa tayong isang step, which is writing the given with 4 terms. So may equate kasi natin siya as x squared plus 9x minus 4x minus 36. Saan nanggaling yung 9x minus 4x? Pinaghiwalay natin yung 5 at yung 4. Okay?
Yung 5 sa 9 and 4. So,
Then,
same pa rin sila, no? 9x minus 4x, si 5x pa rin. So, technically, same pa rin ng polynomial yun.
Equal pa rin sila. Yan. Tapos, apply natin yung natutunan natin last week regarding the greatest common monomial factor. Pero, we will group them first. So, lalagay natin x squared plus 9x minus, bakit may minus dyan? Kasi we will factor out the negative 1 na. So, yung kabilang term would be, kabilang group will be 4x plus 36. So, may nakikita na kayong common dyan, no, na factor, no? For the first group, that would be x times x plus 9 minus 4 times x plus 9.
Ayan.
Yan. So, may nakita tayong binomials na parehas. At yung parehas na binomials na yan, yung kanilang common, let's say, binomial factor. So, para siyang pwedeng lumabas na x plus 9 times x minus 4.
Ayan.
Ayan. So, equal yung natin dyan.
So, yung x minus 4 galing dun sa labas, no? Yung mga yung common factor na kinuha natin kanina sa bawat grupo.
Yes.
Ayan, very good
Kasi
po.
parang nagpa-factor out naman tayo ng
Kaya Lustre Ramos, ayan, nakuha na niya yung sagot. Quantity x plus 9 times x minus 4. Ayan, hello po kay Francine Panalingan, kay Sweet Sigalano, kay Kurt Cruz. Ayan.
Ayan. So for this example, meron tong mas maikling solution, pero kasi nga, ginagawa natin is solution for everything, for every type, or for every case. Kasi kapag 1 yung ating leading coefficient, we could skip a step. Pero gumagana pa rin siya kahit yung mas mahabang solution. So I think this would be our last example for today. Ayan, let's factor 3x squared minus 10x plus 8.
So, yung coefficients, kukunin natin, no? For A, yung coefficient nung first natin is 3. And then, yung B natin will be negative 10. And then, yung C natin will be 8. Ayan. Kasi, naka-arrange na siya from highest exponent. Kaya, agad-agad nakukuha natin yung A, B, and C natin. And then, next is kunin muna natin yung product ni AC. So, 3 times 8, that is 20. Ano na po? 24.
Ayan, kasulat.
Ayan. And then, we take into consideration the middle, which is yung B, na negative 10. Ayan. So, ano-ano yung factors ng 24 na kapag inad natin is negative 10? Oh.
So una, kailangan dahil yung factors niya, yung product is positive, pero yung sum ng factors is negative. So definitely, dapat yung factors natin, dalawang negative. Kasi negative times negative is positive.
Ayan. So, meron agad tayong clue kung ano yung sign nila. Pwede po kaya yung yung 3 at saka 8, pwede ba?
3 at saka 8, let's try. 3 times negative 8, that's definitely positive 24. Negative 3 plus negative 8, that is negative 11. So, hindi pala sumobra. Nagkulang ng isa. So, hindi siya pwede.
Isa pa. Ano pa kaya yung factors ng 24 na may sum ng negative 10?
Try
Pwede ba
natin yung
4?
Ano po?
Negative 4. Saka negative 6.
And negative 6. So, let's try negative 4 plus negative 6. That is negative 10. Sakto.
Yun.
Yeah.
Tsaga-tsaga lang, no? Patience is the virtue paghahanap natin. Pero pag familiar na kayo with these numbers,
Yes.
mas madali na makita yung mga factors na kailangan natin. So,
Kasi
a matter
wala rin-
of exposure and practice.
Kasi wala rin namang iba siyang combination. Malalaman natin na unique yung bawat pares ng ating factors.
So, masasabi natin na dito,
So, 3x
ang
squared
perfect-
minus 10x.
ang perfect pair for this is the negative 4 and negative 6.
Pwedeng baliktad, baka isipin nyo hindi pwedeng pagbaliktarin. There are cases na pwede. Okay. So this would be 3x squared minus 4x minus 6x plus 8. May nakita na ba kayong common factor? Kung wala pa, try muna natin i-grouping ng maayos. So we will have 3x dahil minus yung ating what we call this next operation, para tayo nag-factor out ng negative 1 dun sa sumunod. So that would be 6x minus 8. Okay? Ano kaya yung may iwan at lalabas?
Doon sa first group, may common sila na x.
Okay,
Yung 3
so,
at 4 kasi walang common factor. Ang common factor nila ay 1 na lang. So, x lang yung common natin dyan sa first group.
so
ang
the
iiwan sa
binomial will
loob,
be
3x minus 4.
4. Okay? May common ng ano tayo, no? Di pala common. May technique tayong pwedeng gawin. alam na natin na 3x minus 4 yung isang factor or yung lumabas na group. So, kung alam natin na pwedeng i-factor itong trinomial na to, we could assume that one of the groups is also 3x minus 4. The problem is, ano yung nasa labas ng group na yun?
That will be negative 2.
Negative 2. Ayan. So, dahil meron tayong common binomial factor which is 3x minus 4.
So, yung other factor will be yung x tapos yung minus 2. There. So, the factor of our general trinomial.
So, tandaan lang natin no, na mag-ingat lagi sa signs. Kasi kapag nagkamali tayo sa signs, definitely our operations will be affected.
And also, tiyaga-tiyaga. Okay? Kasi hanggang sa masanay kayo, bibilis at bibilis na rin kayo in finding the factors of your polynomial. So, we are done. We were able to factor out perfect square trinomials, general trinomials, and na-expose din tayo sa kung saan sila pwedeng ma-meet na problem solving. Ayan.
Ayan. For factoring polynomials, usually actually for grade 8, ang lagi natin tinatake is on the area. So abang-abang natin yung mga susunod nating topics kasi yung factoring hindi tayo matatapos sa week number 2. Okay, yung skill na yan ay dadalhin natin hanggang week number 6 ata ng first quarter and bibit-bitin natin pagdating natin ng grade 9 and ng grade 10.
Even sa senior high school, meron din sila ng factoring. Ayan. So, huwag na yung kakalimutan yung skills na natututunan natin sa lower grade level. Alright? So, that's it for this week. And we were able to do factoring polynomials. Okay, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng sumubaybay. Sana po samahan niyo ulit kami next week. Same time, same page. Alright?
And then, syempre, abangan natin at sundan din natin yung mga and for our next session we have mathematics 9, so invite natin yung mga kilala nating grade 9 students at alam kong makakatulong ang ating mga susunod na tutors na si Tutor Janet and si Tutor Angel.
Ayan. So sa math, tsaga-tsaga lang, makakaya din natin lahat yan. See you po next week. Bye!
Bye, good day and happy weekend!
Happy weekend!
Ang husay naman! Natapos mo ang iyong tutorial session kasama ang iyong mahusay na ETULay tutor. May bago ka bang natutuhan? I-share na yan gamit ang hashtag #ETULayLevelUp. Huwag aalis ha dahil may susunod pang programa na pwede mo ring panoorin at salihan dahil naghihintay na ang iyong mga tutors. Happy learning dito sa ETULay!